It's the old man in the woods. Let's talk about life. Let's get real. Slip on your earbuds, turn up the volume in the car, or watch us on YouTube. Let's go. I want to talk to you briefly about the commandments. In the Gospels, in several places, Jesus is questioned by the Pharisees and the scribes and the religious rulers, and they tried to trip him up by saying, "What is the greatest commandment?" And he said, "Well, there's two. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself." And he said, all the law and the prophets hang on those two commandments. But I want to talk about three of them today, okay? All right. So let's start off with Exodus 20, verses 1 through 7, and Deuteronomy 5, verses 4 through 21, list the 10 commandments. And I want to talk about the first three. The first one is, you shall have no other gods before me. The second one is, you shall not make for yourself a carved image, graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, earth beneath, or the water underneath the earth, and you shall not bow down to them nor serve them. And then the third one, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Those are the three that I want to talk about, because just like Jesus said, if you love your neighbor as yourself, you're not going to steal, you're not going to commit adultery with his wife, you're not going to do all of the other things that would involve other people. To begin with, I love to go to the words written in red in the New Testament, because Jesus never said anything that contradicted Torah. He lived Torah. He was Torah. He is Torah. He will always be Torah, and Torah will always be in effect. I say that in verse 36 of Matthew 22, he said, when they tried to trip him up, they said, "Which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind. This is the first and the greatest. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself." And then he said, all the law and prophets hang on these two commandments. Well, if you love the Lord your God truly with all your heart, soul, and mind, you will surely do your best not to violate the second or the third commandment. In the second, which is listed in Exodus and Deuteronomy, it says, "You shall not make for yourself an image." We have to understand, when we go back to the original Hebrew, the word image is pesel. And pesel means to hew or to carve or to sculpt or to fashion or to create. In Exodus 20 and 4, it refers to an object that's made to represent a deity. The English word comes from the Latin word imago, which means a likeness, a representation, or a copy. This is getting interesting. So pesel then refers to some type of a physical idol or a statue, which are often associated with pagan worship. Now, some religious sects and individuals carry this to even say that having a cross is a violation, because a cross has to be carved, sculpted, or smelted. I'll let you decide that one for yourself. But it's plain to see that a statue of anything is not to be worshiped or bowed down to. But if we go back to Genesis 1, verses 26 and 27, we find out that we are created in his image. And the word for image there is selim, starts with a T, which is silent, but it's selim, which means an image, a likeness, or a resemblance. And in Genesis, selim is used positively to describe humanity's creation in the image of God, emphasizing a unique relationship or role as God's representatives here on earth. I want you to remember that thought line of us being his representatives. Note that this was all before the fall of mankind. And when we fell through Adam, God had to create a second Adam to fix everything. We all know that's Jesus. So he sent his son to be the representative once again. But this does not remove us from the fact that we were created in his image and are still supposed to be representing him on the earth. I wonder if you could see what I'm about to say. Some of you are your minds are already going there, and that's a good thing, because I believe it to be true. I can imagine God saying in that second commandment that there is no need to create an image of him or what you think he's like or anything, because he already did that when he created us, because we are created in his image. We are the image that he created, and he's saying, don't do anything else. I've already got what I created. He's asking the question, why would you create something out of stone when I already made the image that I wanted to make out of flesh? Another noteworthy thing is the laying out of the word selim, or image, in Genesis 1. It's in a positive form. But when pesel is used in Exodus 20, in the commandment, it's in a negative form of an image. The one in Genesis, the image, us, we're created, is in a positive form. He called that good. But if we try to recreate another image and violate the commandment, that is the negative form. So, selim in Genesis refers to an abstract or intrinsic likeness to God, not a physical statue. But pesel is a forbidden physical object crafted by humans for worship. So to me, God is saying that he created the selim, and he has no need or wish for there to be a pesel. I hope that just rings your bell, because it does with me. But I want to move on to the third commandment. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. The key portion of that scripture in Hebrew is Lotisa et Shem Yahweh El Kahai Lashav. When we break that down, Shem means name in a personal vein, such as Yahweh, or even the generic version. And Nasa means to take or lift up or carry or bear. Basically, it means invoking his name. Shav is translated as vain, and it means emptiness, falsehood, or worthless, or even deceit. So doing something without substance or purpose, often tied to a false claim. This goes far beyond saying the word God and then adding the word damn to it. It goes far beyond saying Jesus Christ in the expletive form. It goes way beyond that. Not saying that those are not wrong, for yes, they are wrong. They're blasphemous. But I'm saying that the meaning goes much deeper than what you might imagine. False oaths, swearing by God's name to deceive or vow. You remember when Jesus said, don't swear by this or swear by that, or don't swear by God because you can't. No, he said, just simply let your yes be yes and your no be no. He said, don't make any promises, and for sure don't involve God's name in any promise that you make. Then a frivolous use, using his name carelessly, like adding the damn, okay? And then hypocrisy, using his name to justify sin, like claiming divine approval for personal agendas, like, well, God told me to do that. Did he? Or did you just have too much pizza and had a dream? Or maybe the chili was a little bit spicy and caused you to have a nightmare. Did God really tell you to do that? If he didn't, then you're using his name in vain. Okay? It's something to think about. And then blasphemy, speaking of him or with his name with disrespect or undermining his authority. You see, the Pharisees accused Jesus of being blasphemous. But yet at the same time, they were being blasphemous by saying, he's got a demon and he does all these things by sorcery. No, he did them by the power of God, and you just blasphemed when you said that. So how did Jesus address this third commandment? While he did not specifically say taking the name of the Lord in vain in a single isolated teaching, his words and his teachings provide a framework for understanding that. He condemned it when he said in Matthew 15, verses 8 through 9, he said, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? He was quoting Isaiah to show that honoring God with the lips while the heart is far from him is really taking his name in vain. He also condemned the use of his name to justify harmful or unjust actions like, well, that tornado hit because it was God's will. Was it really? God planned a tornado to go over there and take out a bunch of folks. You better be careful with that. So this little dive into the 3 commandments that I consider very important reveals that if we really truly love the Lord with all of our heart, soul, and mind, then we'll watch to make sure that we never take his name in vain. And if we love our neighbor as ourselves, that's only because, first off, we love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. So I hope this little short episode today has helped you to think about some things about how we're created in the image of God. And the second commandment says we don't need to create any other images because he's already done that. That just blows me away. At any rate, I love you guys. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, do so you'll get the latest content as soon as it comes out. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening in today. Look for us on the YouTube channel as well as all the major podcast platforms. Remember, Mike's books are all available on Amazon under his pen name, Michael Saunders. There's a link in the description. Enjoy one today. See y'all next time.